Hello, this is Cam from the Brothers Slim. You might notice my voice sounds a little off. I am back from Gen Con and definitely caught the con crud, as some call it. So, yeah, fun voice. I'll try not to stork too much into the mic, but yeah, we are back with another Aeon Trespass update. Eos. There was a little micro update that I didn't cover. Basically, it just said that they had restocked their store and that their app was live, or app update was live, I should say. But yeah, let's get into it. So, first days of summer, shipping, reminders, primordials, and normative. Hey guys and gals, the title is, of course, figurative. Summer is in full swing, indeed. I can feel it in the sweltering heat outside the office, and I can see it in my mind's eye. The Heracleides cutting a bloody path across Greece. It all starts in summer. As the next wave of ATO is about to ship, I'll be talking about what comes next. But first, reprint, expansion, shipping, pledge manager, closing. So this I'm not going to read because basically it's things that have been said over the last couple updates. Basically just saying if you haven't figured out your pledge manager and there's any other add-ons that you want, go get it now because they won't be able to guarantee things in the future. There we go. Locking orders, exercise best judgment. Indeed, good summary. They do show some pretty phenomenal art from Truthsayer. It's like the Medukos, if I remember its name correctly, the weird goat slug monster underwater. Yeah, super cool. Beholder thing. Expansions are almost here, and I can't wait to see your reactions and read about your experiences. I heard the quality and contents of the core game were a massive surprise, and a welcome one, winky face, to a lot of you. It's hard to top your breakthrough hit with the second outing, but I think we've nailed it. Indeed, the sophomore release. The expansions build on the foundations of the core game to deliver something new and transformative. Both cycles are bigger than any of the previous ones. The worlds are larger and more intricate, and the new mechanics bold and paradigm shifting. New technologies and gear allow for a myriad of new builds and tactics. The main quests are even more varied, and the stories cut even deeper. And the secrets. So many secrets. Secret codes, paragraphs, symbols, languages, news, and wonderful ways of rewarding your curiosity, perceptiveness, and ingenuity. Very cool. I'd like to see that. That sounds neat. These two new cycles are two new massive games in anything but name. Indeed. I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll give you one last tiny glimpse. Just do a little spine side-by-side comparison of Cycle 2 versus Cycle 4 and Cycle 5. Cycle 5 is huge! Also, I just love that they did it in black. Very neat. The Salt Road, so a little showcase of the arts of an adventure area, adventure hub. Quality for all. Fun. Awesome looking board shorts there too, heck yeah. And definitely Cycle 5, so I love how kind of modern sci-fi some of the stuff in Cycle 5 looks like. And also, are these chicken legs? I don't think they're chicken legs, but they look kind of like chicken legs, and I like it. Yeah, cool. Looks like a modern aircraft carrier almost. Yeah, crazy. Very crazy. What is up with Cycle 5? Limited summer releases came and went in a flash. Thank you for partaking in our return to miniature production. The Beach Sigla and Times Woe sold out immediately. The reprise print of the former went down almost as quickly. The same goes for the Spartan Edition t-shirts, which we restocked. The new Titans are still here, thankfully, as remembering the demand for the tail spinner last year, we've cast more of them. All in all, we're very glad as this allows us to expand the world of Aeon Trespass into new directions. Like these. Spartan Herodotus packs a punch, which is just really neat. We are hopefully finishing up Cycle 1 soon, and we've mostly just been using the same old Streamwalker Titans, and having some variables, alternate models would be cool. So really cool to see them kind of retweaking that. Big ATO companion update is live. The official update arrived last week, and from what we hear, the reception was uniformly positive. Thank you on behalf of the digital team. Next up, VO integration and release in September. You were not ready for the narration. With the amount of effort put in, as well as the number of actors involved, we could basically convert it into a radio play. It seems everything we do is cursed to be enormous. I missed that reading through before. That's fun little wordplay on the end of the update. Little pictures and stuff. Skyward Odyssey progress. Skyward Odyssey, the epilogue expansions for cycles 3, 4, and 5 is progressing nicely, with 2 of the 3 maps done. Remember, this time it comes with more components, including new maps. Although it's the worst piece of the game to talk about. Simply put, it's one giant spoiler. It's the epilogues. With how Cycle 3 ended and how Cycles 4 and 5 end, it's much harder to hide these things. Consider everything in this paragraph a spoiler to the last cycle of the core game, as well as for 2 of the new cycles. So if anyone's super keen, maybe just duck out for 5 seconds here. You've been warned, and then we'll go ahead. What can you expect from Skyward Odyssey? New story content, obviously, one that ties up additional loose ends from the last 3 cycles, as well as delivers closure for the various side stories you might have encountered. It offers new cards, new maps, new voyage mechanics, ones that are different and more involved than the ones we use in Onwards Odyssey. It features additional 12 Sins of Heracles integration, which is very interesting. I think that's these map tiles here. Oh, and some miniatures, like these. Yes, for the first time in ATO, you will also control more than one ship on the voyage phase. Very interesting. So, this clearly has something to do with Cycle 3, if I were a betting man. And then a cute little tiny ship. Reconnaissance Trireme one. Sins of Heracles progress support, which is very exciting. And it's like the first Sins of Heracles news we've really gotten, which is it makes sense with timing and is really cool to see. Development of Aeon Trespass has not slowed down. Now that I've shipped the reprint and expansions, as well as coordinated development and production on For Kingdoms Forlorn, I spent most of my days chiseling away at 12 Sins of Heracles, when I don't have administrative duties, that is. The progress we've made since the campaign is enormous. Once again, that word. I've developed and expanded the new journey phase, which includes completely new path, exploration, and roam mechanics, the new annals, which separates the battles from the tyranny of the timeline, though a timeline is present, region and primordial progression. And that's actually interesting too. I don't mind the timeline, but that's I'm curious how the difference is going to be. Region and primordial progression, the nemesis mechanics, the carcass delve, which is now even more central to the new crafting system. Also very excited for that. It's going to be interesting. The new oikos, i.e. the family, statistics and your family's global abilities, the new awakenings, including eidolons, hero mode, and, well, lots. And of course, I've developed the Sin stories, the new quest structures, new primordials, and new titans. I've designed Nemean Line Eater, Cretan Sacrophagus. I'm also really curious what is up with the word Sacrophagus, because sarcophagus is the Egyptian word for their little tomb doohickeys, well, the things you put in tombs with bodies inside of them. But a sacrophagus is something different, and that wordplay is absolutely specific. If anyone has an idea of the roots of that, I'd be really curious. There's some Stymphalium Stormfronts, Orthros Bloodhound, Cosmatos, and the Doom of Pythagoras, plural, oh yes, which is something people were commenting on as a typo in the campaign, but it is another thing that's intentional. So once again, what is the purpose? What is the meaning of this? As well as all the Summer Titans, including Pathfinder. I'm into the Romanthian Borer, Girdle Phalanx, Sternian Talos, and the Prime Nietzschean. Believe it or not, there's even more, but let's dive into Sins of Heracles, the new journey phase. I love everything about the direction we took with this. The new journey is reminiscent of the voyage of the Argo, but has a distinct adventurous feel. The new mechanics give you immediate agency, you are much more maneuverable, but also present unique dangers. You will choose your path based on possible rewards and penalties from the new Windfall and Misfortune cards, taking stock of your stats, resources, and options. You will decide if you will travel the main roads or go off the grid, in the hopes of losing your pursuers or discovering lost secrets. You will seize several of the new opportunities to bolster your ranks or cover your tracks. You will visit cities and settlements, which can now offer much more unique abilities and interactions. That's cool. Cities right now, for us, we haven't done too much with. Usually it's just bartering or trade, and that's really good about it. Nice, beautiful map tiles. Very cool. Sins of Heracles, Civilization and Wilderness. You will start with an initial path card that gives you 2 options. Do you shun the well-trodden roads and brave the wilderness, or do you value time more than anonymity? Words. Before you uncover a new map card, you will have to choose. Each will influence the exploration cards you draw. The exploration cards are now divided into 2 separate sections. Interesting. And each will present you with different opportunities. Think of opportunities as a way to mitigate luck, improve your weak points, or to enact a long-term strategy. New map features and travel options will further interact with your path card. You can freely choose the way you travel each day, but, as you note on the bottom of the card, switching comes with an Oikos fate cost. Moreover, you will have to discard any opportunity tokens you've already collected. Still, this may be the only way to stave off disaster. Opportunity tokens, I'm curious what that would be. Then we get a little look at some cards here. A road in the sun of Hellas, a path through the wilderness. Okay, so what are the differences here? So the road, you draw 1 less exploration card. During the phase, you may gain something to do something. During the road phase, you may gain... Okay, cool. So basically 1 less exploration card. And spend time with the Oikos. So it's with the family. Don't know what that symbol is. I'm guessing it's maybe like relationship with the family. The commands, 2 more tokens here. Discard them to... Oh, so you can gain diplomacy. That's fun. Up the locals, when there are 2 or more tokens here, discard to gain a progress. Fun. gain a, I don't know if it's opportunity or that might be fate maybe. Flip this card before you decide on the direction. Path of the Wilderness. Cover your tracks. If there are 4 more tokens here, discard to gain some sort of token. Forage for Gaia Seeds with the 2 more tokens here. To gain +2 Titans. Make friends with the 3 more. Okay, so lose a stranger. Uncover their father's secrets. To gain a Inward Odyssey. I'm sure that's going to have a different name. Cool, so a lot more options. That sounds fun. That's very fun. Other journey novelties. 12 Sins of Heracles builds on the ATO foundation, but it offers a different, more personal experience. There is no Argo, remember, no technologies, Titan breeding, or fancy diplomacy with great factions. Instead, you will have to seek friends, and hunt primordials even more vigorously. And those political factions, they are still here, but you are no partner for negotiations. You will become a pest, a pawn, or an unlikely ally. The timeline will no longer constrain you, though the passage of time can still doom you to failure. Battles will no longer appear in a neat schedule. Instead, they will be added based on your actions, good and bad. And, well, there is so much more. I definitely believe it when he says it. That's cool. I like that. I do enjoy... So one thing with how we play is being able to know when a fight is coming, and then that way I'm the one who we play at my place, and so I'm the one who sets everything up before folks come over, and then that way I can have the battle set up underneath that little tabletop thing, so then that way we can jump in on the map stuff, and then we're ready for the fight. You just move the map, and the fight's already set up. But still, more difference is usually fun, so we'll wait and see. We get creepy bug pictures. So if I remember correctly, when he was talking about summer in these plains, there was ants that caused issues and would eat carcasses, and it was a whole thing. So my guess is these might be those ants that eat stuff in cycle, in the summer cycle. No, summer box. Okay, Cretan Sarcophagus Primordial. Let's talk new primordials. Designing summer proved a nice challenge for me. I would even venture one on par with the final cycles of ATO, which sounds crazy. Remember, summer was to align with cycle 1. How do you make something more involved yet simpler at the same time? With the richness of the later cycles and the straightforwardness of the hekaton. That's a fair point. Interesting. As I said, a challenge which I relished to the very end. Instead of simply stripping everything down to its basics, first I looked to the UI and other component solutions that could streamline mechanics and free your mental processing power. I will say this game is super heavy on mental processing power. So this and Kingdom of Death are definitely my 2 favorite games right now. And while I love ATO for the story and the fights, it's really nice to be able to go to KDM and feel like it's not as much of a mental load to carry. So kind of a nice thing about both games. So anything to free up a little mental processing power sounds good. Then, for the entirety of 12 Sins of Heracles, I decided to lean more heavily into terrain interactions and unique reaction actions. Something that gives a primordial combat a much more visceral feel and attaches a unique Sins distinctness. Cool. That seems very fitting with how kind of more primordial and rough and tumble all the Titans and your player characters are. So, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't actually know if this is an updated sculpt or not. I think it's a different angle. The sculpt does look updated as far as I wonder if we can... Let's just open this in a different page and take a quick little look. I was aiming to get through this update as quick as possible, but I think this is going to turn into a bit of a deeper dive at this part, so I don't think this is going to be close to 20 minutes either, alas. One of my critiques during the campaign was that the sculpts didn't really show off detail very well, and I think that they have adjusted this. In fact, I know that they have. No, you know what? That's taking too long to load. Speaking of processing mental load power, so balls to it. So I think it's the same sculpt. Maybe. I can't remember for sure. But it does look cool, and it's got more detail on it, so that's good. I had made a content. I would love to see this thing like a little bit more crab-like, which I'm just some dude online, so who really cares? I'm a sucker for crabs, though, and this thing just kind of gave me crab vibes, like with hermiting in this boat. But yeah, so let's take a look at some of the stuff here. So it's got a status trait, Hermit Shell Submerged. Place this card on the wound stack. When you deal a wound, always move this card to the top of the wound stack. Each time the Sarcophagus gains a wound, double wound counts as 2. Place a token on this card after resolving the current action. If there are 3 more tokens, discard all tokens, flip this card, and perform signature. Hermit Shell Skittering. See, once again, Hermit Shell, just crab-like. Where's the claws? So same idea, and basically you flip it to back to Hermit Shell Submerged instead of Skittering. kind of going back into the play of how this thing can be underwater and also on the surface at the same time. Finally, Sins and Odyssey are still meant to be fully compatible with a loose correlation between seasons and cycles. I've looked at some common mechanics between the two, which will allow for even more gear builds and Titan synergies. The results, the Cretan Sarcophagus, for example, another Charger-type primordial, and one very much tied to the story of Cretan Cycle 1. Its attacks are rather straightforward, and it utilizes the now notorious and sometimes loathed Labyrinthor's Trample mechanic. However, here the similarities end. Trample, I haven't had too much trouble with, honestly. And we're definitely not great at the game, but we have had some of that fight, or challenges with that fight on the level 4, so maybe the next time will be our undoing. Sarcophagus battles take place on open sea. The water conveniently stratified by the monster into a more solid state, but only just. Spend too much time in one place, and the structure will dissolve into a sticky solution that will drag you down all the way to the bottom. This is represented by the dissolving solidified water tiles, which appear under every Titan, every turn, slowly turning the battlefield into an anti-maze of sorts. Interesting, so you need to constantly be moving around. That black and yellowy gold does look freaking sweet. Okay, so how much of these can I read? So we have a 1, 2, and 3. These look like AI cards. So Mourner's Charge. I love all the little art on these. Let's see if we can zoom in a little tiny bit. Don't know if that really did anything at all, but that's okay. So Mourner's Charge. Oh, there we go. Do a little bit. For this Titan in front. Honestly, I'm not going to go through all the little details. This can take way too much time, but looking at the art is cool. So we have Mourner's Charge as a charge toward Titan. Fun stuff. Deathmarked Pilgrimage on top of the water. Very cool. And Boy Longlegs. Interesting. Yeah, love the art, though. It's super sweet. And so these, I'm assuming, are those tiles that he was talking about. Let me actually zoom out a little bit. Just one, maybe. Sarcophagus further utilizes this effect by dealing the web status, which is a variation on knockdown, but much more severe and ranged. Not gonna lie, hate that. Not a fan of the knockdown status, but it is what it is. Finally, this monster utilizes its unique ability to inhabit a shell. It already chose the wreck of a Cretan septireme, and will transform from one to the other several times during the battle, changing its to hit and AT values, as well as interacting with the Titans and the board in unique ways. Cool, so that's how that trait thing functions, which is sweet. And so we know that this has got something to do with Cycle 1, and that it is probably the funeral barge to one of Enos's kids. Okay, then these look like BPs. So we have Funerary, there we go, Funerary Adornments, fun stuff. Morai Backdoor, so to do with the Fates, which is interesting. It's the 3, and then Hairy Abdomen, fun stuff too. Some crit effects and stuff. Cool. Interesting, that's sweet. And so my assumption is the red and the normal will switch depending on which mode it's in, which is cool. Then it's got the full layout here, which is sweet. So these are the BP, and then does that make those other ones? Yeah, AI or the black ones. Cool. Yeah, that looks like a lot of fun and super cool. Alrighty. Hull Breacher Titan. The Titan made to fight the Sarcophagus, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that word right, is slow and heavy set. Their additional support slot is best filled with one of the new vehicle type gear cards, which enhance mobility and help deal with the dissolving structure of the solid sea. Their Stratify Skin ability gives them much needed survivability, and their Overbreaks of the Persian variety will pack a considerable punch. Later, you'll be able to upgrade that Stratify Skin ability into Fluid Curdling, which deals with poison, bleeding, and other more unsavory liquids. Because Titan ability upgrading is something you'll be doing. Cool. That's very neat. I like the nod to Persian vibe because it kind of gives me, I don't know how accurate 300 is, but like the Persian Immortals in the movie 300 back in the day. That's what these guys this guy kind of reminds me of. Sculpt looks good though. Very cool. Yeah, you can see the art there a little bit better. Doom of Pythagoras and Cosmatos teased. We're not quite done today. I want to dedicate a whole separate update to each of these because their designs are, well, I think they push the boundaries of what Aeon Trespass can be. However, the mental insanity of Cosmatos and the spatial one of the Doom cannot be contained. Here's a sneak peek at their AI, BP, and traits. Cosmatos, like many powerful Aeon Trespass foes, Withholds his true power with a playful trait. Pray it stays that way. His attacks will always get under your skin, which is a modular effect depending on the cycle or season in which you confront him. And his BPs? Are they even BPs? So he's a small titan, so he's only on a single grid square, which is going to be interesting. Up until this game comes out, 12 Sons Heracles, there's only going to be one foe like that before, so it can be curious to see how this goes. So playful basically makes him a little bit easier, and easier is in he's not just going to destroy you one turn one. You can maybe last a couple turns. Okay, so Wildflower Sidestep. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a body part to me. Bewildering Feats, Secret Deck. Cool, so yeah, very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Flutter of Beggar's Rags is an attack. Fun stuff. So he's like a weird trickster cannibal or something. Doomus Madness of a different kind. Ancient, pseudoscientific, non-Euclidean. I can't remember what Euclidean means. As it's a separate add-on meant to enhance the games and offer a new challenge, I allowed myself to go wild with the design space, which, coincidentally, looks like an impossible triangle. Which I think is fitting with Pythagoras. Invisible Edges, Trigonometry of Terror. Each hit deals X danger, where X is the number of despair tokens you have. If you have none, each hit deals a despair token instead. Whoa, that's pretty crazy. The sum of your life. Cool. Yep, all this stuff sounds awesome and fun. Next ATO update. That's all for today. The next update will drop sooner than in 6 weeks, but will be much shorter, dealing with the progress of the new waves to Livery. Some of you should even get their games by then. Until then, oh, and there's also this. Enormity! Something I've been tinkering with in my scarce spare time. Super cool art. Just everything ITU does with art is always fantastic in my mind, and this is no different. Enormity is the immeasurable grandeur of the universe, its unfathomable size and variety, and a sense of wonder and horror it instills in all mortal things. It is beautiful, it is terrible, and it is unknowable, into the unknown indeed. Enormity is stealthing your way through the derelict space hulk of an unknown alien race, in search of salvageable tech and answers about the universe, only to seamlessly translate into a firefight and a frantic escape from overwhelming forces of your adversaries. Enormity is hard science, with a touch of mysticism, magic, and religion, coalescing into an esoteric fusion of a truly alien world, only to finally dig deep into cosmic horror. That sounds freaking sweet. But Orson, what is it? Glad you asked. It's our new game. It's not a boss battler, but it does have boss battles aplenty. It's not ICP, well, not the one you know. It's its third iteration, a long time coming, tailored to dungeon crawling and flash stealth, as well as exploration, looting, and yes, combat. Of course there's combat, both ranged and melee. Enormity is an exciting, endlessly replayable extraction crawler in which an intrepid group of spacers, astronauts, explore a mysterious vessel that carries them towards an unknown destination, as well as to strange alien planets and perplexing megastructures. Enormity is a seamless, open-world extraction, exploration, and survival game. You explore interconnected zones of a massive object, moving from area to area, scavenging loot and knowledge while avoiding enemies, fighting enemies, and eventually powerful bosses, while avoiding or fighting enemies. You have a countdown, after which it becomes critical that you extract or risk losing everything you hold dear. Enormity can be played as a one-shot, as several one-shots in a persistent world, or a modular campaign. There are hidden stories, ones you need to piece together. Maybe that will even save you. Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty cool. I'm in a space where I've got, just with all the Aeon Trespass stuff and Skin of Death, no room for any more big giant games, but I'm definitely going to be following the campaign. I'm sure it's going to be really cool. And all I'll say is, if this sounds sweet, and you've already got a whole lot of games too, just back and budget responsibly. But yeah, looking forward to following along, because everything these guys have made have been really neat. One thing I'll be really curious too, is I feel like in some of their, specifically in the Kingdoms Forlorn campaign, and I think to a degree, the 12 Sins of Heracles, but a little bit less there, because there was a lot already on display. Kingdoms Forlorn, there's so many things that were hidden at launch that their first couple of days seemed a little bit slower than they could have been. By the end of the campaign, like, yes, it's an expensive game, but there's so much content available that it really could show the value. But on launch day, all of that value proposition wasn't there, so I'll be curious to see how they run future campaigns. But looking forward to follow, and we'll definitely be putting in my 2 cents. It sounds freaking sweet. I'll say that right now for sure. It sounds like kind of what I hoped. What was Awakened Realms space game? I can't remember, but it sounds like what I would have preferred rather than that one. But not to be. That'll be cool to follow though. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, especially listening to my little sicko voice going on right now. And I think I did take some pictures and try to take some videos and crafted doing that of Gen Con, so I'll probably do a little video of that, maybe a little showcase of the few things I bought too. I was on a budget, so I didn't buy a ton, but I did think I got some cool stuff. So much love, happy gaming, and we'll catch you next time. Bye!